Last time on Hasta, Alaska, Sharne and I experienced one of the best adventures yet in the tropical Caribbean island of Cuba, where we took to the streets and the horses for a backpacking adventure. This time we're celebrating Sharne's record year-long stint in Kombi Life, and we'll be looking how we got from this to this. Sharne. Not many people could handle living in a VW bus for over a year, never mind what she went through on this trip. This is actually the first video that I'm making for you guys that I don't really want to make, but we'll talk more about that later. For now, let's take a look at Sharne's record year-long stint in Kombi Life. The aim of this trip has always been to share the Kombi and the adventure with as many people as possible. Over 100 travellers have joined us on the roads of the Americas so far. I first met Sharne way back in Argentina near the start of the trip. She was actually one of my first couch surfers. Sharne, come over here and introduce yourself. This is Sharne. How you doing, Sharne?
Really good.
Yeah, you having fun?
Yeah, I am.
That's stage fright.
Tell me, Sharne, what was your first impressions of the Kombi when you saw it?
I thought it was amazing.
You don't have to say good things, you can be honest.
No, I did think it was amazing.
Shit, I've got to live in there with those guys. That's what I'd be thinking if I saw us standing up in a van.
Yeah, I did think that.
A fair play to you.
I thought adventure, that was the first thing.
That's exactly why we're loving having you here. She was all about adventure, discovering herself and the world on the road.
So pretty.
What can I say? She was the perfect fit for Kombi Life.
North, into the mountains.
I like North. Sharne and I shared experiences in Bolivia that neither of us will ever forget. However, the most magical moment was in Peru, when we found Little Alaska. However, this is where we had to part ways. Faced with a traveller's worst nightmare, lack of time and money, Sharne couldn't stay with us. So she set out to finish what she had started and completed an incredible solo backpacking tour through the rest of South America and Panama. It would be 7 engine failures, 10 months, and around 30,000 kilometres. That's 18,641 miles for you and me, before she'd saved up enough money to rejoin Hasta, Alaska in Nicaragua, Central America. So you can see that we're talking about a girl with some travel experience here. But it wasn't until Sharne returned to Kombi Life in Central America that both you and I got to see her true colours. Sharne quickly spoke to the heart of the people that she encountered, learning about cultures and fully immersing herself in the communities that she visited. Since the first day that I met her, she's always been about new experiences, seeking out adventures and trying new things. She has the perfect curiosity for the world that she encounters, which makes a traveller transform as they're on their path. She is living proof that we travel not to reach a destination, but for our growth on the journey. Of course, Sharne knows better than anyone that there are 2 sides to Kombi Life, the fun times and the hard times.
So good.
Props to her for not just sticking with us in the very hardest parts of this journey, but also getting stuck in and literally holding the show together.
Always scrap bits of metal. You can do some use the tyres if you like.
It was about that time, stuck at the bottom of a volcano for 5 days in Guatemala, that I fell in love with Sharne. You guys were probably much smarter than me and fell in love with her months before. Sharne was patiently cutting out gaskets from a cornflakes box as we tried and tried to get out of the small lakeside town.
Is this our 3rd time trying to get out?
4th time.
Come on, move.
5 days later we made it out of Lago Atitlan, only to spend 16 days straight in a Volkswagen mechanics, almost without water to wash. followed by 5 straight months in another mechanic's on the Mexican side of the border. It was hell. But as the weeks turned into months, and it looked like everything around us was dying, we somehow bonded in that little Mexican scrapyard.
This is free!
Now when I think back, I don't think about the hours lost covered in oil, but rather one of the most peculiar situations to get to know someone in my entire life. Other good things came out of that situation too. If we'd never lived alongside Oscar and his family, we would never have known about his cancer or his inability to pay for the treatment. Sharne's appeal reached so many people that we were able to surpass our goal of $1,000 and actually pay for his course of treatment. You'll see our return to Oscar and his family in the next episode. So you can see that she's a pretty inspirational character, and a big hole was left in my life when she ran out of money and had to go home.
Miss you already.
Miss me already, I'm still here. See you soon, boss. It'll take some getting used to being without her, but hopefully she comes back soon. Sharne did cook a mean breakfast. 2 boxes of cereal, that should see me through the week. Alaska, eat something. The initial plan was that Sharne would go back to Brisbane, Australia to work and save up enough money to join Alaska and I back in the USA. But Sharne is a girl with big ambitions, and it wasn't long before she was seeking new challenges. Just spoke with Sharne and she's decided to stay in Australia and she's going to study, so I guess it's kind of over for us. It's pretty hard to take. She's a pretty special girl. I guess you don't cry because it's over, you smile because it happened, right? Guys, she was always going to have to go. She left the first time and the second time. Travellers always have to go. On this channel, you travel with me and discover life with us as we discover it ourselves. I've always shared with you the good and the bad aspects of this journey and the lessons that I'm learning along the way. You guys have come through a lot with me, and I can tell you one of the best things about travel is that I get to meet people that I would never have met if I'd stayed on my tiny island. But one of the hardest things is that at some point, either they or you have to travel on. And one of the biggest sacrifices of continuing your journey is that your paths may never cross again. I can almost hear you shouting at the screen, "Don't let her get away!" I know. Believe me, I tried. I really tried. My bags were all but packed. I've been thinking maybe it's a good idea if I come and see you. I know it wasn't my plan, but you know, I want you to know how much you mean to me, and you know, like I'm determined to make it work with you. If the beginning of our story is that we met in a van and we travelled for a while, and then I came to support you whilst you were studying and stuff, and I was with you for 3 years in Sydney whilst you followed your dream, then that's a good story. I'm happy with that. But Sharne couldn't ask me to give up on my dream, all of this, and I couldn't ask her to give up on hers. Eventually, with enough time and distance between us, she fell out of love with me. The reason I said I didn't want to make this video, this episode before, was because would you really want to spend countless hours going through video of your ex-girlfriend? Honestly, 5 months in the Mexican mechanics in rainy season is nothing compared to how hard it was to make this video. But Sharne is an exceptional character, an inspiration to both you guys and me, and she deserves a highlight video.
1, 2, 3, 4!
Sharne, you're doing a great job.
I look at you on and on and I feel guilty. Yeah.
2-2 play for.
Well, I know you won't let me go. If only you could turn around and look at me. Oh boy, stop reading your magazine.
vagina in the street?
What will it look like that before you put your vagina in it?
Definitely not going in there.
Because my vagina is precious.
Every day and every night I won't let go. If you wanna take me out, you should let me know. Yeah. If you really want to set me free, you can make it come closer and talk to me. Oh boy, stop reading your magazine.
We're in Cuba!
Proper mechanic lunch. And it's about to lose his shit as well.
Personally, I find it best to keep oneself occupied as much as possible during times like these. Fortunately for me, travel just so happens to be one of the best remedies for a broken heart. Coming up on Hasta, Alaska, new people, new problems, new roads, new challenges, new experiences. Actually, the only thing that isn't new is the amount of adventure that we'll be sharing with you. So be sure to stay tuned to Kombi Life.